Usually when I make videos for these, I've been trying to include a video of me playing it just so you guys have footwork to reference, but I'm telling you right now, I'm not doing it for this chart. This chart has everything I'm bad at, other than the occasional foot speed burst, but this is Circulator from ECFA 2021 13th DLC. It is charted by Chief Skittles and was originally released in the Prickly Pears Pop and Pack. And per the video title, no, you did not read that pattern incorrectly. We'll get to that in a second. I do have some fun facts about this chart that I'll tell here in a bit. Beginning's a little tame. Nothing too crazy. Starts you off with some foot switches and some brackets. Tones down and then introduces some bursts. And then this build up here goes from 8th notes to 16th notes to 24ths. So that's kind of there's a few silver linings here. The bad part is that 24ths at 165 BPM is equivalent to 247 BPM 16th notes. So this is very fast. But the silver linings that I see is that this 24th burst is only 2 counts. So it's okay to really haul ass because it's a very short amount of time. Like, speed deterioration is not going to be as big of a deal as it would be if this run was longer. And also, you get some speed buildup. So it goes from 8th notes to 16th notes to 24th. So you have like a little bit of buildup to work up to that burst. And then it tones right back down to 16th notes after. So some really basic bracket foot switch stuff type here. Marked foot switches are good, but then here's the pattern coming up. That pattern. You did not see that incorrectly. If you try to do the form on this, it's not going to work out well because you would end up doing a foot switch here. This left arrow would be hit crossed under with your right foot, and then you'd end up trying to do a crossover bracket with left here. But then the next pattern starts on the left foot, so it's just all over the place. Unless this chart gets patched for some reason, which I personally don't think it should since it's already been released, you would just have to know where this pattern is coming. And the mine is very out of the way, it's on the left arrow. You can play this as a double tap or a jack. This as a left and then this bracket on the right. So just don't do this as a foot switch. It's probably the best way to handle this. And then, yeah, that's it. The way that you should know where that's coming up is I see this as kind of like the verse start, right? And then there's a point where it hits impact and the drums go from halftime to regular time. So this is a halftime feel. 1, 2. Still in the halftime feel. And then right here, it goes up to speed. I think it would be at the end of the 2, 2, 3, 4. It's at the end of the second measure, starting from the build-up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2. There it is. And then after that, I don't think there's any more typos. I don't know a good word. Mispatterns. There's no more mispatterns after that. So everything else is played as intended. But that's good. It's a good issue to look out for. It's a lot of crossovers with brackets. Jack here. And the brackets are always on the snare hits. Always on 2 and 4. A little bit of foot speed again. And then you don't even get a break, because he makes you play through this. Thank God, Trevor. To be fair, compared to everything else that's going to be thrown at you in the ending, that's definitely a break. This build up mimics the beginning of the chart, and then it falls to the wall. I can't play this. And then actually, now that I'm looking at this, I don't think this typo happens again. It would happen here if it was anywhere. Let's see here. This is hit with your right, left, right. Yep. So this one resolves just fine. Some crossovers again. It's crazy. The only immediate advice I can give on this is that starting from here, I just think of this as a left dominant stream, as in a stream. It's just constant 16th notes that start on the left foot. And what I'm doing mentally when I'm playing this chart is I'm just thinking about my left foot just playing 8th notes the whole time, and making sure that my left foot is always driving with that rhythm, especially if you're trying to go for masterfuls and fantastics, right? And then what I'm doing is I'm trusting all of my experience from playing tech and crossovers and side switches. I'm trusting my body to move me in the right direction based on what's coming at me. Because it's too fast, there's too much movement. So all I can trust is having this as a base and letting it rock. That's all I can give. I'm having that feeling right now. It's kind of like the feeling when you're sitting in a math class and the teacher is teaching you a new lesson or a new theorem or something, and the teacher's in front of the class and they're applying it and doing problems with it, and they're like, okay, now when you do your homework, you'll just do this. And I'm sitting in class like, okay, yeah, I get it. And then I go home and do the homework and I totally don't get it. I'm having the same vibe with this, where I'm kind of like sitting in my office chair and just kind of like vibing out with it and trying to see how this plays. I'm like, oh, maybe I could do it. But I'm pretty sure if I got it in pad, that would not work out. Yeah, especially, man, like this cross under is really deep. This is a candle crossover into a bracket. Man, and like 2 side switches in a row. Let's see here. So this first one is done facing left on my toes, but then this pattern turns me around, so the next 2 notes for the side switches are actually done at my heel. So this is an instance where you have 2 side switches in a row on the same arrow, but facing different directions. And that's like... It's really easy to look at this pattern just like on its own, but when it's like flying at you, this is not a very long amount of time from here to here. This is not a very long amount of time to turn your body in a complete other direction. So man, this chart is just wild. Short little break there, but then you're just back at it. Luckily, the runs aren't continuous anymore at that point. That's another thing I talked about, like, when I talked about and I talked about computer blues in that video as well. It seems like the most intimidating parts of this chart is really the miss chart that happened. This miss chart is kind of scary. And also this constant 16th run here is kind of scary. But if I look at how this chart is laid out, that 16th run, that constant 16th run, ends here. Like, I'm trying to like show myself on the minimap here. I don't know if my cursor is showing. Like, the hardest part of Circulator, in my opinion, is right here, and the mist chart is just like one tiny sliver up here. I think I can handle the rest. So understanding the pacing is really important, because I'm less afraid to really give it my all here, knowing that there's not too much that comes after it. So yeah, that's crazy. I also feel like as we look at charts in the 13s and 14s range, it's really hard for me to give advice that's just kind of like unlock something for you, or like a trick to make things easy. This chart, there's no hiding the fact that I have to practice the shit out of this to get good. So okay, some other fun facts about this chart. I'm gonna play the song in the background while we talk about this. But some other fun facts about this chart. One is that Chief Skittles originally rated this a 12, and almost released this. He just kind of threw it in there and almost released this pack without the rating being changed. This is another quote from Chief Skittles. He said, this is fun fact number 2. I have one more after this. He said that Circulator is absolutely one of those things I figured would be a footnote in the story of Cactus Pack because it's so asinine that it's more of an art piece than a chart. Trevor straight up said that he did not expect people to get good scores on this, and did not chart this in a way that was meant to get good scores. He said, like he said, an art piece. And then number 3 is actually about the miss pattern, or like the typo. He said, if I had to guess, I think that there was one point way back when Alex found a different double step, and I probably accidentally introduced this double step after I fixed it. Which, like, on the other hand, I want to forgive myself for that one, since the chart is kind of crazy, so I just fumbled the execution. So yeah, confirmed from the source that that is not intentional. That's not meant to be that way. As far as advice, I really want to try my best to give some sort of lesson at the end of every video, so here are my footnotes. I'd say, if you're struggling with the 24th bursts, my advice is to start playing Stamina FA. And that's playing Stamina with the intent of getting Fantastics on every step, but also with the intent of trying to do it in the most relaxed way you possibly can. So for something like this, it's starting by playing Stamina FA in like the 200 BPM range, trying to get all Fantastics, and then working the BPM up 5 to 10 BPM at a time. And it doesn't have to be long streams. You don't have to be playing things like 200 BPM 18s. Like, any amount of run will help. I think I developed a lot of my 200 to 220 Stamina FA ability by playing Hellblind, Hellblind lowers, and then also like Cirque de Veyron, Zaya's pack. If you're struggling with the ending, like this barrage of crossovers and side switches and brackets, I would say that ultimately the core of the difficulty in this is really just crossover movement. Like, yes, side switches are in there, but side switches are just foot switches facing sideways. So the reason that it's inherently hard is because of the crossover aspect of it. Every side switch is a crossover. There are brackets, but they're all facing forwards. So if I had to pick a single skill set to practice to get better at this chart, it would be crossovers. But really, this chart is hell. You'll catch me in hell before you catch me playing this. I mean, I hope this helps. I hope the information I had about the chart was fun. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys tomorrow.